Today we're going to be talking about finding the right piano from a jazz perspective. Stick around. How's it going, y'all? My name is Cooper Greenberg.
And I'm Chris Vu.
Today we're here with Alamo Piano Galleries. We're currently in San Antonio, Texas, but we have galleries all over the country. You can find us online at alamopianogalleries.com. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, all that stuff. But let's get into it. Chris, how's it going?
Good, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's a
for
pleasure to be
being
here.
So, first off, we're talking about pianos today, but give us a little bit of your background, what you do, what you play, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just I play all sorts of things. The lucky thing about jazz music is that it's been around for so long, so it's gotten some time to kind of grow with all the other music that's grown up around the U.S. So when you say you play jazz, you actually play 4, 5, 6 different styles. So as far as what I play, I generally stay in the more traditional side. Though I'm kind of working my way forward, there's so much to learn before, but there's so much to learn now too. But finding a great piano that really suits you is super important, because I firmly believe that, like, if you like what you hear, then you're gonna like what you play, right?
Yeah.
And as you play, if you like what you're hearing, it'll make you play more, good things, like a positive feedback loop, so to speak. So I think it's definitely important to find a piano that's really speaks to you in a way, because I know that with a lot of classical players, just playing on a well-tuned, beautiful instrument with nice timbre, all well sorted, is really all you need. But a lot of piano players in the jazz world, they tend to focus on the really personality elements of a piano.
Yeah.
Like some people I know really love extremely warm pianos, and some love really bright pianos for any variety of different purposes. Personally, with the style that I play, which I play all sorts of music. I'm a session musician for recording, and I get called to play on a gig that I've never even heard the music before. I like pianos that I can get a variety of different sounds out of without having to worry about, like, oh, this particular sound doesn't quite suit the style that I'm playing in the moment. So. Yeah. Like personally, I like really versatile pianos that when I'm really tender and soft, that I'm able to really pull a lot of those more beautiful resonant frequencies and everything. But then if I choose to play more brash and cut through, like I tend to like pianos that can also project as well. Yeah. And a good balance of both. Yeah.
Would you say that jazz players are pickier or less picky than classical players?
So I think, well, I guess it's a two-parter. Some are more picky than others, but generally in a lot of circumstances, like if you consider a classical player, the types of venues that they'll play at are generally concert halls that have a concert grand, however many $1,000 piano that's in an air-conditioned room and everything. But for us jazz musicians, a lot of the times we have to make do with what we have, right? Like a upright that's missing 3 keys or missing a sustain pedal or something like that. And part of the beauty and part of the flexibility of jazz being such an improvisational art form is that like a great player, what separates a great player from an okay player is using what you have.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find some really interesting, almost sometimes very comical sort of situations where if the middle D is not working, well, now you have to figure out a different voicing, and there's definitely some really great things that can happen from that too.
That's
so
cool.
I'd say that I guess if you have a choice, then we're pretty picky. But if we don't, then we play on whatever.
Yeah,
we can play on the floor.
So I'm a guitar player.
Okay.
And I find there are certain kinds of jazz guitar players that need like an arch top. They want a jazz box. They want it, set up a certain way. And then at Jazz Texas, I saw Bill Frisell play. He's playing Telecaster, which, like, on our guitar channel, that's always associated with country music, blues music, all
Absolutely.
that. But I mean, he got sounds out of that. I mean, it's a very, very simple setup on that guitar. 2 pickups, 3 positions. He got sounds out of that just with the tone knob and all that, which I feel like is really indicative of a great jazz kind of virtuosic player. he got the sounds out of it that he wanted, you know. So let's say you're walking into a piano store. Do you have a certain piece, certain thing that you use on every single piano to try them out, see what's going to work best for you?
So I always gravitate towards ballads. I think, and you know, just to speak a little bit about ballads in general in jazz, like they're considered one of the more difficult, I guess, styles within jazz to play, just because every note is very important, right? And I find that whenever I really want to judge a piano on how it makes me feel, I play a ballad that I'm, you know, learning that particular week or playing that particular week, and it allows me to really get the personality quirks of a piano, right? And then a lot of ballads, they have these flourishes from the bottom of the range to the top of the range. So I feel like it's a pretty good indicator of whether you like something or not. And depending on how you voice things, you can kind of tell what register has more pronounced frequencies from here or there. And I usually do that. And then from there, after I get through that ballad, then I'll play some more of the repertoire that I'm normally used to playing, like. And I kind of imagine I'm in a live music situation where, like, if I just sat down on the piano, I'm kind of feeling it out, what I'm going to gravitate towards.
Gotcha. So talk a little bit about what you're playing for us today on the GX6.
Yeah. So today I'm playing just a lot of. I tried to with the nature of jazz. Actually, I tried not to be as prepared, right? Because I'm trying to find a organic sort of way of like how would I treat this in a situation where I'd be playing, right? With jazz in particular, you're not preparing a piece like a Chopin piece for 2 months, right? Sometimes, you know, the band leader just calls out a tune and you're just supposed to play it. So I like to come in with just completely fresh mind and just play whatever I'm feeling in that particular moment. And today I just happened to play some old sort of jazz standards, reharmonizing the way that I like to play them. One of them. The first one is a more swung, sort of just traditional tune with a stride section, and then I played a ballad, just like I mentioned before, to evaluate sort of all the ranges of the piano. And that's generally the type of music that I play, so I was playing it here today for you all.
Very cool. So you're about to hear Chris. He's playing on Kawai GX-6. Listen to all the stuff that he's got going on, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the piano and kind of what he thinks about it. Check it out. There you go. So tell me what you thought about the piano.
Yeah, I love the piano. Honestly, like everything that I like in the piano, I found in that particular that Kawai. It was really nice. Like I felt that I could get whatever sound that I really wanted out of it, depending on all the little nuances. Like I find that a lot of pianos out in the wild are I find that they're very suited towards one particular thing, so which is actually kind of a beautiful thing about finding a piano that maybe you're not quite used to, because it makes you think differently. Like I'm talking about that positive feedback loop again. Like it really informs what you want to play. But a piano like the GX, right, is it's so versatile that really it's just a blank canvas. So I really appreciated that. It allowed me to really think about things.
So you're obviously very experienced. Pull it back to maybe somebody that's beginner into intermediate, right? That's really trying to steer their playing into more of a jazz territory. Do you think, one, if they walk into a piano gallery or even just a place with a piano, are there certain things that you would look for? Or are you more looking for a blank canvas just to kind of let you explore? What would you say that somebody should look for? Not even just in Kawai, but just in pianos.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say honestly that a blank canvas is what I would recommend, just because, just so that I think the more experience you have, the more that you can notice that certain pianos really want certain things to be played on them. But as a beginner, like if I played a really tender ballad or something that I just figured out, and I didn't quite get the sound that I would want, that would make me not really want to play that style of music as much.
Yeah.
So and vice versa for the opposite. But I feel like a blank canvas allows that player to really be able to accept all sorts of styles that they're about to kind of embark on in that particular journey of jazz piano, without really pigeonholing themselves into one particular thing. Like I think it allows them to really get the full gamut, to appreciate the full gamut of music that can be played on that piano.
Yeah, absolutely. So the GX6, obviously, sort of, it's a high-end piano, right? You can find features of that piano in lower-end stuff and also more premium, like the SKs and all that. Do you have, like, a certain... Let me ask you this. Let me pull it back for a second. You play all over the place. You said you're typically walking to some place that already has a piano in there. Are there certain brands or models that you feel most comfortable with that you go find? And what would those be?
Yeah, I usually, of course, Yamaha is probably the most prevalent piano that you'll find in any serious sort of jazz venue. But honestly, Kawai's, I found them to be just as good a lot in varieties of different scenarios. I've played on a few Young Changs that have been quite nice. Those I've found that they don't really project as much, but also whenever you see a Young Chang, it's pretty rare to find one that's longer than a 5 foot or 6 foot. So maybe it's just that. One that I've actually, a particular brand that I've found that isn't quite as easy, maybe because has more of that particular character that I was talking, less of a blank canvas, is Steinway.
Yeah.
Now, beautiful pianos. I love playing Steinways, but depending on, every Steinway is different, even from the same factory line. Like, pick any of the stocks.
One serial apart.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I didn't believe that until I realized exactly what handcrafted means. Yeah. And that can be for better or for worse, but those are the types, like, especially out in the wild too, a well kept up Steinway is relatively hard to find unless it's in a kind of concert hall or a venue. Absolutely. But I find that Yamahas and Kawais, stuff them in a corner and don't tune them for 6 years. Just tune them up for that day, and honestly, they're pretty fine. They're great, actually.
That's awesome. So you play at Jazz Texas. Let's take the GX6, and you're in a jazz club. What do you pair that piano with? Food and drink wise.
Food and drink. Wow, yeah. I did not expect that question. That's amazing.
This is Guitar Channel territory.
Absolutely. You know what? Us pianists can learn a few things. Yeah. So what would I pair with a Kawai? I feel like the Kawai is the personality of that piano is like, it's like the button-up version, the most button-up version of yourself that you can possibly think of. Like the clean, just very clean and very classy. I would say like a nice Merlot, something like that.
Nice.
And a steak. I feel like that piano is the definition of class. Right.
That's beautiful. So, to wrap it up, if somebody that's watching this video enjoyed what they heard, where can they find your music? Where can they see you play, recordings, all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I play sort of all over Central Texas, but mainly at Jazz Texas. So you can come see me at Jazz Texas most nights of the week. You can just go on jazztexas.com and take a look at the calendar. I run my own show there. It's a Duke Ellington tribute where I have a small big band playing some original arrangements of Duke Ellington. But you can find me, doing sort of private events and everything like that. So just keep an eye out.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. If you're more interested in Kawai pianos and pianos in general, check out alamopianogalleries.com. And if you're new to this channel, we're trying to, expand outside, get some local talent in here, and also just incredible musicians. And it's very fun to have Chris in here. Thank you very much for
Thanks
being
so much
here.
for having me, Cooper.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all for watching. See you next time.